A lot of artists out there feel that they should be further along in their careers than they are. That's because they know their worth, their talent, and so forth. And I don't mean to take away from that. However, none of us are entitled to anything. That's how I look at myself when I approach the work that I do. Borrowing from Stephen Pressfield and The War of Art, in it he says, we are entitled to our labor, but not necessarily the fruits of our labor. And that's true, right? Because no matter what we do, we can't think that things will just be handed to us. And once you kind of make that switch, that distinction, and instead of thinking that, you should be at X, Y, and Z place, A, you get to enjoy the journey a lot more, and B, you take that pressure off yourself and you start to look for the pathways that are meant for you, and you do those things, right? Borrowing another quote from Picasso, paraphrasing a little bit, but, it's the sentiment that he said, like, hey, if someone took away my paintbrushes, I would sketch with a pencil. And if they took away my pencil, I would, prick myself and I would paint with blood. Meaning that no matter what, he would find a way to make his art. And that is the approach that I think we should all take, right? And it's something that I've talked ad nauseum about in terms of my vlogs, how I approach my work, that no matter what, let's say a project started off as a movie that I really wanted to make, and, because of the cost and stuff like that, it just wasn't feasible. So then I turn it into a book, right? That's literally how my first novel came to be. That's how my second novel is coming to be. And then other times, in terms of the 2 feature films that I have made so far, yes, I would have loved to have them be even bigger than they are and stuff like that. But I found a way to have a very ambitious script for each in a way that was actually feasible for me at each of those times, right? And now approaching my 3rd movie, I'm finding a way to even go more ambitious, but still in a way that no matter what, I'm able to do by myself. And so as artists, we have to really look for those mechanisms, right? And the beauty of this, really, when you're not entitled in that way and thinking that the world should hand you anything, is you start to create, right? I mentioned that you enjoy the journey, and by enjoying the journey, you therefore start to create the art, right? And we all have to start at a certain point, right? We can look at Beyonce or anybody and think, oh wow, they're so amazing. But they all started off, they all had a beginning. And so it's important to remember that. And so when we can do that, we can start to create the art, because no longer is that sort of pressure on us, right? We're doing it from a point of passion and finding ways to iterate. And by doing so, we learn and therefore can create more. And, I've said this for a long time now. The best form of networking is just to create good stuff. And so by putting stuff out there into the world and having a body of work that people can reference, eventually it will draw attention from audiences, as well as people that want to work with you, support your work, in terms of funding and things of that nature. And it's not an overnight thing by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, how many times, do you hear Oscar speeches or, read bios and stuff like that of artists that essentially, it took them 10 years to be an overnight success, if not more, right? There's plenty of people that have been, within, let's say, the entertainment industry for, 20 years or something like that. And then finally at like 50, all of a sudden, things were coming for them, right? There's all kinds of examples of this stuff. And so we just like to believe that, once we begin, all of a sudden we'll pop and that'll be that. And it really is just that perseverance to keep going and boil down, not be entitled that you deserve it no matter what. Fine, you deserve it, but go create it. Don't think it's just going to be handed to you because you have talent. Talent, at the end of the day, is a process. It's showcasing what you're capable of. That's why, for me, I never enjoy waiting on the sidelines for someone to give me that opportunity. I go and create them in the ways that I can, right? It speaks to that Picasso quote, no matter what his mentality was, I'm going to find a way to make art. And that's what I want to instill in you, is get rid of that entitlement and start looking for the ways that no matter what, how can you create stuff that you're passionate about, that showcases what you are capable of to the world. And when you can do that, then good things come. I don't have a timestamp on when, but good things do come, slowly and surely. But ultimately also, it won't matter because you're enjoying the process. So that's my message to you. Let me know what you think down in the comments section about this. Thank you.